to Artist in Recovery / Darryl P. It's 4:34 in the afternoon, Monday, the 9th of June, 2025, on my Fire tablet of Amazon's. I got CNN that they piggybacked on one of the stations here locally out here in the Southland. That basically the Marines are now being harassed. Protesters yelling and screaming their heads off at this point of what's going on. I got the street rap you had, street poetry of what's going on. Do you have you ever had tear gas? Is that fun? Either it's pepper spray. Yeah, I'd seen a lot of people react to it. Stings the eyes. Breathing sucks, and especially for an asthmatic like me. I stay the hell away from the damn shit. But yeah, in my youth I had been pepper sprayed at least. And that's just as nasty as tear gas, I understand. And no, I am not among the many out there. I stayed home because I got no way of getting back and forth on this shit. Despite the fact the trains may be running, and the Union Station, they are well within the area of issues. And besides, it'll take me all day just to get down there and get back again. I've seen this happen before. We had many. I lost count how many I had in my lifetime. The major one I remembered more often was the 92. Now, there's different ways of calling it. Either the 92 LA riots or the Rodney King riots or the riots of 92. 4 officers beat the shit out of a black kid. Drunk black guy. Gets caught on video. Video gets sent all over the world. Cops get busted. For weeks or months, they can't find a venue until they find it out in Simi Valley. About 3 or 4 months of testimony back and forth. Cops are acquitted in criminal court. Civil lawsuits are still, they flew like crazy as well afterwards, but the federal went after him too. But the first trial was it. And it was going to be either make or break, and it broke California. It broke Southern California. Or portions of it that are going insane. I don't know if anybody else had filmed and saved and still have it to put up on video. I haven't seen it on YouTube as of yet. All I know is I was watching my neighborhoods marched up and down, and cops screaming and yelling at each other on police scanners. My brother was working at an oil refinery in the middle of that mess. And he must have had 3 or 4, maybe 5 people approached him while he was trying to take a smoke break outside the walls. They wanted him to be back inside. My brother wanted to get a smoke. National Guard were telling him. LAPD, LA Sheriff, CHP, and a couple other law enforcement agencies. All telling my brother, get back in the wall. You know, if you're working here, get back over here. He had to do overnight. He had to do overnight shifts. And he had a scanner. And we were listening to the scanner sometimes at night when it wasn't working. But it was during the time when they actually had analog instead of simplex. Different form of signals coming through from law enforcement to law enforcement. Analog, you can hear everything. Simplex was coded. Still is. Right now on CNN, Aaron Burnett is out in the middle of this whole mess, trying to see people not freaking out and yelling, screaming, and Turn her up. My dog is going nuts, by the way.
More officers, all of them with their weapons pointed at the crowd here where we were standing. Everyone started running away. These were guns that are, you can see some of them there with the yellow. These are rubber bullet guns. These are pepper ball guns. There was immediate worry about tear gas, but it just showed the tension.
It's National Guard, not Marines, oh thank God.
Guns drawn, ready to fire because of a plastic water bottle. It did calm down for a moment. The crowd is back. The standoff is back. It just shows you how tense it is, what we are seeing here. And this tension, the real fear is that it could boil over and erupt into what we saw last night. And Kyle Grillo was here. You were freelancing, you were taking pictures, you were all of it. You were following for Bloomberg. Tell me what you saw in these moments where we see a tension, right, and everyone starts to run away. Everyone's just reacting here to the sound of this is a roaring motorcycle through this crowd. I think there was some fear, now people are cheering. But Kyle, I think this sort of summarizes the tension.
Yeah, obviously things change very quickly. The frustration and tension.
Photojournalist Kyle Grillo.
Law enforcement or someone throwing something. Or yesterday I saw somebody run a motorcycle through a police line, 2 women. That changed the thing, and it changes really fast, and it can be scary.
You have the images of, that now is seen around the world, right, of a man standing on top of a burning car. What was that moment like as you were taking pictures?
That moment was actually kind of calm. They were taking out frustration on inanimate objects. It wasn't a battle between law enforcement. They were kind of just celebrating their community at that point. And while violent, it was kind of a rejoicing moment.
When you see moments like this and you think about what it's been here in these past couple of days, what do you feel? I mean, you're talking about how quickly it can turn.
We're on Los Angeles Street,
sandwiched
between
that people are ready to run at an instant. You also see those police
West Eloso and where's the other one at?
We just saw that.
Temple. Terrific.
Somebody might throw something.
It's in the triad.
Might see something and they'll start moving and pushing forward.
Federal triad.
As they start pushing forward, as you just saw, everyone then becomes more frustrated with the
downtown Los Angeles, pal.
And so then they start throwing things. It changes in
Darryl,
a second. So
I need you to open MapQuest or Google Maps, whatever you're using, dude. Tap out City of Los Angeles Civic Center.
To have our backs to what is happening because you can't see it in an instant. Kyle, thank you so
Point
much.
you to a landmark.
Your time and your incredible images. Thank you
City Hall.
thank you.
All right, Senator Alex Padilla is with me now.
City of Los Angeles City Hall.
What is going on? And you hear Kyle and I talking about just the fact that it truly can change.
It's on Spring Street, between Spring Street and Main Street.
Tried to ram through police lines. Yesterday, there was an immediate tension and fear among people.
You're looking for the street. It's called Los Angeles. You're looking at 3 buildings. And there's freeway and an overpass. This is the territory.
Right? That's not the status quo right now, Senator.
Right, Aaron. I thank you for being there on the ground to experience that tension.
United States Courthouse.
Not only because it captures
There on Main Street.
volatile it can be, but because it doesn't have to be.
Shit.
It's important to remind everybody how this all began. This is a manufactured crisis.
Take a general look at the area.
This is classic, Trump.
This is the city. This is the city of Los Angeles.
And of course, there's going to be a response from passionate people in Los Angeles standing up for our fundamental rights and due process. That's a great.
Closer to the freeway is the
Demonstrators and marchers have been
federal courthouse. They got people protesting over there, and if that's not the one, they'll be screaming and yelling at the federal building on the opposite side. Gotta love all these tall buildings. Drive you crazy.
message about what the administration is doing with immigration
And in the area, you got LAPD,
tactics,
Metropolitan
the
Detention
actions
Center.
that they have chosen to take on. It all serves to distract from the failures of the Trump administration, right? The tariff war is a big failure. There's no peace between Russia and Ukraine, on and on and on. And
Senator Alex Mattia,
Congress right now to decimate healthcare.
Democratic, he's on the Judiciary Committee.
For working families, but he's changed the narrative because of the crisis he's created in Los Angeles.
Senator, we see, and talking to people here that I know that I see, we hear stories about offenders who have been in communities for years who have been taken summarily. I talked about the Catholic Church parking lot where people were taken summarily. We've seen it at schools. We hear story after story after story that shows how pervasive it is and how powerful it is in this community. And yet, these are all from citizens, right? Citizens' cameras of something happening.
Surprised they don't demonstrate in front of the damn Twin Towers.
Themselves at this point, an ICE raid was Dr. Phil, Trump's ally, who came in and was able to film a raid and put out pictures of him there, took a television crew in with him. What do you think the purpose of that is?
Fear-mongering.
Nothing but a political agenda by the White House and Donald Trump. Look, Aaron, for me, this is personal. Los Angeles is home for me. My parents were immigrants from Mexico, so our family's journey is one of pursuit of the American dream, and that's the journey, the experience shared by so many other families across so many generations. And that's the cruelty of these detentions and raids at elementary schools, at churches, at houses of worship, and workplaces is so beyond the pale. Throughout the course of the campaign last year, Donald Trump did talk about focusing on violent criminals, dangerous criminals. If that was what they were doing, there would be no controversy, there would be no debate. There's agreement on that. But what they're actually doing is so much more than that.
That's it.
And it's
That's the federal.
against the interest of our country. California, not just the most populous state in the nation, the most diverse state in the nation, home to more immigrants than any state in the nation, and we have the largest economy of any state in the nation, not despite our immigrant population, but because of the contribution of so many law-abiding immigrants working hard, paying taxes, contributing to the success of communities and our nation's economy. Now that's being hurt because of Donald Trump's overreach.
Letting her run right now. I'm gonna check on her real fast. Bring her over here.
Has national implications because the overreach by the administration, their attempts to not just with the National Guard but with the Marines and elsewhere, is not specific to Los Angeles. If they get away with this, this sets the stage for similar tension and war that you're seeing in Los Angeles in every corner of the country. So stakes are absolutely very high.
Yes, they are. Thank you very much, Senator. Of course, the use of the National Guard in this way has not been done since 1965 under President Johnson. And it does come as Governor Newsom here in California has just in the past few moments said that he understands that President Trump has now deployed an additional 2,000 National Guard to Los Angeles. Now, it's unclear whether we add that on top of the nearly 2,000 that already have been mobilized. We're trying to get to the bottom of these numbers, but Governor Newsom saying an additional 2,000 have been deployed. As our breaking news coverage continues here in LA, we'll be right back.
Hi.